Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is your most preferred channel, Channel Up, where we share updates about trending issues. And of course, if you've been following me, you see that a couple of days ago, I've been on the VDM thing with Mohbad's case, and then Kemi Olunloyo too has been throwing her own investigative findings online, and we've all been witnesses over time. This is the reason why I feel by this time, for us not to be caught off guard, we need to really follow the times and join the trend, if you know what I mean. So this isn't gossip. What I'm going to drop in a few minutes is not a hearsay. It's not about chasing cloud. It's not cloud chasing. Trust me. What you're about to watch is a kind of a continuation of a bold and direct message delivered by Dr. Kemi Olunloyo, a figure that is as controversial as she is, though very, very relentless. It's a kind of message she has dropped for a very dark man, aka VDM, also known as Martins Vincent Ose. Now, but indirectly, this is also a message to the entire industry. Okay, it's also a warning, it's a reminder, and it's a possible clue to the findings about the unliving of Mohbad, because this is what we have been onto within the couple of days that have passed. Okay, so I would love you to really sit back and pay rapt attention to this video, because if you followed my updates, you know that I don't just drop. I drop when it's so necessary. Okay, so this video will reveal lots. You're going to hear names, you're going to hear accusations, you're going to hear facts, and you're going to hear things that you've not been able to link up with few clues rather, as regards the death of Mohbad. Stay tuned. More details after the break.
I was the first to post about Mohbad's death. However, I did not mention Mohbad. On that day, I posted that there's been a death in the industry. And I'm really sad right now in that I want to stop posting for the day. It was very early in the morning, and I'll let you guys know later. That's what I posted, and I have a screenshot of it. Now, as soon as I posted that, and the whole comment section got filled up, people in Mohbad's camp, especially Wumi and Yabo, they had seen the post. Within the hour, they sent an advert to Instablog Niger to put an advert out. That's Mohbad, okay, had died of an ear infection. That advert was paid by Yabo. Now, I saw you on one video asking who paid for the advert. Because of privacy, you cannot technically ask Instablog to reveal the names of their advertisers and where the money came from. That's what privacy in marketing is. I have a degree in public relations, and marketing is a big part of PR. But for me, as an investigative journalist, I did a forensic investigation, and I found out Yabo paid for the advert. She was with Wumi, but they tried to hide her whereabouts at that window, the 72-hour window when Mohbad died. Yabo was also posting on Wumi's handle. That Cynthia CY something, it was Yabo that was posting. That post you talked about in your video, like, they took him from me, all those things were actually posted by Yabo. Yabo was the admin for Wumi's handle. I mentioned this in my video in September and October during overMohbad. overMohbad is so saturated now because I had 65 videos on there and 22 live videos and 205 posts. I did a lot of work. My work was forensic. So I couldn't tell a lot of people details. You had to follow that work. There are people who followed it. And those people, please put a comment on what you remember. Now, I accused Yabo of being the admin for Wumi because she made a mistake. She made a mistake, and Paulo was watching that mistake, and Paulo told her, okay, to take that post down. As you see, Paulo said Yabo should drop the whole thing with VDM. Paulo knew what was going on in the background. Yabo wrote, Kemi Olunloyo used to bully Mohbad when he was alive. Not knowing, now Wumi will know that, but Yabo being the admin did not even know. So Paulo told Yabo, no. Kemi Olunloyo really didn't talk to Mohbad or know Mohbad during his life. I only met Mohbad one time at Tiwasagi's father's funeral where he declined to take a photograph with me. All right. And it was after his death I found out that he was the one going around the industry counseling my son from working with some of the famous producers. So Mohbad disliked me because of the Davido fight. That whole thing with Davido. All your pussy, cheap drug user, we're a woman, all that 2018 fight with me and Davido. And I've been trolling Davido since, putting out all kinds of news about him, all his secrets, everything. There's no news I've put about Davido that's wrong. And I told you he was having babies, 2 babies. I told you about his baby mamas. I told you everything Davido is my factual entertainment news. So Mohbad didn't like me for that. But even so, when he died, my own son contacted me and said I should not do any investigation on Mohbad. He has a right to because he was disgruntled about the way Mohbad blocked his way. And hearing this after his death, your own son will say, why are you doing investigation? Just leave that shit alone. But I didn't because I noticed people in the industry were about to get away with murder. Now, I posted about the properties. I talked about a house, and a woman came and said, Mohbad doesn't own any house. He rents it from me, blah, blah, blah. They had all kinds of things put together to make it look like Mohbad, didn't do this or didn't do that. Mohbad actually owned that house. And that was the work of Wunmi. And he actually purchased the house. He was on his way to purchasing the car. And we saw him at the dealership, and we saw Ade West looking at Mohbad's phone while Mohbad was trying to probably make payment for the car and everything. This is the reason why I was against you with spending interview, because I did a forensic, investigation, and possibly the police too are doing their own, and we haven't heard anything from them in 2 years. So I didn't want that forensic information to come out. By you interviewing Spending mentioned the fact that Ade West also followed him to the pharmacy. I wanted to nail Ade West in the part of he's always there. Ade West was there when Mohbad was trying to buy a car. He was there at the pharmacy when they're going to treat him. 3 a.m. pharmacy. Nobody's open at 3 a.m. Okay, let's move on. Ade West was also there. VDM, okay, was also there when Yabo was signing that condolence register, remember? So the critical part that Ade West played is what I was trying to protect in that Spending interview. And I said, you shouldn't be interviewing witnesses. All this stuff should come out in the criminal court. That's why I did that. Then there was the land that they were fighting over at the graveyard. They had already planned, okay, to start distributing his stuff like right away. They rushed and buried him because they didn't want us to know the cocktail of drugs that they rigged him with, what the nurse administered. The nurse was not with them. Even though they let her go, they were glad he died. That was the whole point of Mohbad's death. They were actually glad he died. And that's why they let the nurse go and quickly rushed to bury him. Because Wunmi had that death certificate and that police report. 2 things you need to go to a mortuary. You need 1 or 2. Okay, but she refused to give it to Joseph Aloba. So Aloba got stuck with a dead body and he had to bury the dead body. The man I spoke to said I could not allow them to bury the body at night, bring the body in the morning. Estate's chairman or something. But at the end of the day, they brought the body in the morning and they hurriedly buried Mohbad. And Wunmi thought that would be the end. Resuming the investigation means exhuming Mohbad's body on the 23rd of September 2023. Yabo Jo made it because Yabo feels that because she has 6 million plus followers, she can actually control the narrative. No, she couldn't. She made it look to her fans like she was the one that told them to exhume Mohbad's body. She wasn't. It was Dr. Olufunmilayo, the very prominent UK doctor on Twitter. Olufunmilayo was the one that tweeted Lagos State government on exhumation for an autopsy, and they answered him. When Yabo heard about it, she retweeted, not even retweeted, she actually made that whole idea hers. Oh, I asked them to exhume. So she had this list of ChatGPT written stuff. Now, the donation part is where I came in. Nothing was with me and Yabo since Port Harcourt prison. The last time I spoke to her was 2019. She apologized for her PA sending me that whole news tip thing. And then I met Yabo in 2021 at Tiwa Savvy's father's funeral, and I also met her at Tony Abraham's, no, not Tiwa's father's funeral, Tony Abraham's movie premiere. That's where I met Yabo. We took photos, hello, hi, that's about it. I don't have anything to do with Yabo Joe because she's going to be in my book. And I hadn't really finished the book because of so much trauma I was dealing with. Now that it's 3-4 years later now, you can now see the kind of trauma I went through when I told my story about my family and my father in 75 videos in April. 1 month, 75 videos. So now you know what I've been going through. That hasn't made me do a lot of things like writing my book. However, it was a good thing because it will be Mohbad's case that I will find out that Yabo actually got paid up to 10 million naira to keep me in prison. Remember that time they were saying, what's still keeping Kemi in prison? Why are they holding her? Kennedy Okoko was paying Yabo money not to come to court. Every time I went to court, waited 6 weeks, Yabo didn't show up. They sent me back to my cell. And this is why I fought Yabo during the Mohbad's case. And how did it start? After posting VDM's noodles, she posted my PTSD videos. I have all the screenshots. She posted it and started mocking a mental health condition. And her fans picked up and started calling me PTSD Sono. Her fans are actually idiots. You know, they're not knowledgeable people. They're brainheads. They're empty brains. So they started calling me that. Yabo wanted to distract us from the case.
Welcome back. So now that you've watched the video, let's look at what's between the lines, because we would work together so you would know if we're rational or we're rationally thinking rightly. And most importantly, what this really signals, okay, or what it really portrays. Now, this wasn't just a message. This was a kind of data dump, if you ask me. It's a compressed expose wrapped in a personal kind of grievance and an investigative touch and an unresolved trauma or an unresolved traumatic experience. Now, Dr. Kemi Olunloyo speaks from a place of both proximity and exclusion. She's clearly followed this case for a long time, longer and deeper than anybody, okay? But she almost admits that she was kept out of key circles or clues by her own son, by the industry, and by those she now named, okay? Now, there is a pattern in her words. Trust me. There is a pattern of what I call orchestrated silence, narrative control, that was disguised as maybe sympathy or empathy, and the implication that several key players in this case were never meant to be questioned. I'm not questioning anybody yet. Now, allegedly, she points not to what was said, but how quickly it was said, by who said it, and who tried to bury what was said. I don't know if you understand me. In essence, Kemi is accusing the system, not necessarily individuals, for accelerating the burial, suppressing truth, and rewriting the story while emotions were still raw or still new. So what makes her narrative kind of unsettling is not just the names that she dropped, okay, but it's the timing of their actions. In her view, nothing was coincidental, nothing relating to each other. Not the death was coincidental, not the burial and all. Do you understand? So that is what I feel. Now, Kemi has placed herself as the inconvenient constant in this case, the one who could not be silenced even when legally or mentally overwhelmed. Let us not talk much about her. This is not a court of law, though, yes, but it's a court of public awareness or public consciousness. We all have our various courts, and in that space, Kemi just reopened a case that lots of people tried to forget. You understand? So if she is having this particular um, perspective about this case, that means we all should cling to what she has to give us in the coming days, because we must get to the root of this matter. If, according to Kemi, okay, if she goes in this space, that means we're getting progress. So what do we take from all this? Not necessarily the full truth, but maybe a small key point, a reminder that in an industry that is as loud as the one we have, it is the whispers that you need to worry about, things that are said where you don't see people. things that are said behind closed doors. Allegedly, what Dr. Kemi is saying might never make it to the court of law. Yeah, who knows? But in Nigeria's entertainment underworld, silence is often maybe bought, and truth is often buried. Yeah, deeper than the body. Yeah, kind of. So I just advise us to stay alert, because not everything that is laid to rest stays dead. Dr. Kemi Olunloyo is making great progress together with Very Dark Man, and I will continue bringing you updates of what keeps on unraveling as regards these occurrences. Thank you so much for staying this far. Please, if you've been watching me for a while, like our videos, share them. Don't forget to drop comments in the comment section. And if you have not shared this video, come on, do so. And before I go, I would urge you, always stay above water and look above your shoulders. See you next time. Peace out.